And I want to stand up for this family. They're talking about taking, and we're going to your calls. I want to give these numbers out first. They are talking about taking this family's children. They are talking about in New York State and the Fonda-Fultonville school superintendent, they sent police to their house because they didn't register their children with homeschooling, which was a civil matter. I've read the law, printed it off yesterday. But the CPS, this shows their tyranny, there's no law against yelling at your kids, no law against spanking them. But they can then decide if yelling or if not putting them in public school or not registering them, if that's endangerment. So the CPS agent and the judge becomes judge, jury, and executioner and God. Inside the eugenics cults set up about 110 years ago, right around there in different states in the United States, 120 years ago in England, for racial hygiene. Everything that George Bernard Shaw talked about, the big head liberal here in the U.S., how they would set up these family courts and then take everybody's kids and the state would end the family. And anyone who didn't produce or when you got old, they would just kill you. He actually says all this. The video of him saying it is coming up in the last hour today. The diabolicalness of these people. And so they're persecuting them. They're trying to take their children. Right now, this family is in between a rock and a hard place. It is the Cressy family. We've seen emails from the police and superintendent and others to locals. Burmis actually went to school in this town. This is where Jason Burmis has lived and went to college. And it's just amazing. And the superintendent's like, well, we had one case where a 18-year-old couldn't read after homeschooling. That's always the PR, that homeschoolers don't get taught, when statistically they're the best that's out there. And I have the article out of France where yelling at your husband or wife you get arrested for. Not cussing, no, just yelling. That encourages wives and husbands to tattle on each other. They said, well, we've had 150-something deaths in 2008. The statistics are always a year old, of husband and wives killing each other. So if somebody out of 61,500,000 people, 61,500,000 people in France, if 150-something people, I read the statistics yesterday, kill each other, then everyone loses their rights and everyone's a slave. If there's one underwear firecracker bomber, everybody's got to be naked body scanned. If one person sews explosives in their body, everyone's got to be x-rayed. They're now calling for that. They always push it further. Oh, you don't want to be body scanned? How about x-rayed? Okay, we won't x-ray you, we'll just body scan you. But then 2 years later, now we're going to x-ray you. At some airports, they actually do a proctology exam. They actually put a glove on and go into you. I mean, they take your laptops all over the news for 5 years when you fly around, and they just take them and download their contents and send them to you months later. They order people to give them their email passcodes and sit there and read it in front of them. I have news reports here where reporters are seeing men stand around, pull out hot blondes, put them in the naked body scanner, and sit around laughing and smiling. I see it on the news, images of a woman being scanned, and the guys are looking at the screen going, I mean, this is sick. Who do you think takes these jobs? Let me give you the numbers, then I'm going to your calls. Montgomery County, New York Sheriff. Now, when you call them, be polite but focused and say, we know through color of law you declared endangerment and that you went color of law, this is racketeering, because it was a civil matter with them. They should have been sent the equivalent of a truancy letter, but you didn't do that. You arrested them for a stunt under child endangerment. This is outrageous, and the American people know what you did, and every commenter on the CBS News site disagrees with what you did. Know that, and the people of that town need to vote these government people out and put patriots in. Take your town back. Montgomery County, New York Sheriff Michael J. Amato, phone 518-853-5500. And if you see this in a week on prisonplanet.tv or YouTube or somewhere, still call. 5-1, and just the action of you making the call, getting past the intimidation, talking to them, letting them know you don't appreciate them. 518-853-5500. Don't steal their children. Because normally what they do when they persecute somebody, they keep persecuting to make themselves feel like what they're doing is right. Call the Montgomery County, New York County Sheriff's Department, 518-853-5500, 518-853-5500. Everyone call. This family is cornered by these wolves right now. 518-853-5500. And we need this sheriff to be voted out immediately. I mean, the thing's unconstitutional. It's not freedom. It's like saying it's the law, blacks are slaves. I don't want to hear it's the law garbage. I know they manipulated the law on this. But the fact that they arrested them and took their kids and now they may not get them back, this is outrageous. 518-853-5500. James Conboy, District Attorney, 518-853-4516. That's the clerk, 518-853-4516. Call that District Attorney and tell him shame on you and we know what you did manipulatively. Just like when I had the state attorney on from Maryland when they told the kids it was the law to take shots, 2,000 of them on the news with SWAT teams and dogs barking and getting the shots. And I had him on and I said, it wasn't a law they had to take shots. It was school policy, so they kicked them out of school and truancy was triggered. And he said, oh, you ought to be a lawyer. Yeah, my kids don't take shots. Started laughing on air. It's funny that they manipulate people. 518-853-4516. 518-853-4516, District Attorney James Conboy. And he is a conboy. Fulton County Child Protective Services. Let these slimers know. Support the family. Get Homeschool Legal Defense Fund involved. They need to be sued. They don't have immunity when they're outside of the law. 518-736-5615. We did this to the county south of Austin and shut their phones down. 518-736-5615. Their phones will be so busy they won't be able to kidnap kids today. 518-736-5615. Glentown Court. Call the court itself. 518-853-4825. 518-853-4825. Those are the coordinates. 518-853-4825. Glenn County Court. Fulton County Child Protective Services. James Conboy, Montgomery County Sheriff's Department. Call them, ladies and gentlemen. They're trying to make an example of that family so they can take all your kids. That's openly what the government wants. I have their own statements in the thousands.